2020.
From ABC News, around the world and into your home, plus the mood of the Chinese people. Their faces are but masks. What feelings do they hide? There are clues in these scenes and omens in the square. The mood of China, 1 year later.
Martial law was only hours away, and within weeks, hundreds of pro-democracy demonstrators would die when tanks rolled in. The aftermath was turmoil in China's political hierarchy. Months of internal maneuvering, most of it shrouded in mystery. But in time, a new leader emerged. And 2 weeks ago, Barbara Walters went to Beijing to meet the man who now runs China.
Well, his name is Jiang Zemin. Most of us have never seen him, nor would we recognize his name. But in China, he is now considered the man at the top, making the policy decisions. But before we meet him, we want to show you the China that we saw just 2 weeks ago. Some impressions of the mood that exists just below the surface. This is Beijing, 1 year later. It is dawn on Tiananmen Square, the seat of modern Chinese government. The crimson flag of China is raised in the early light. Young men of the People's Liberation Army go through their morning calisthenics. Later, they will disperse and take up positions in 2s and 3s around the square, or withdraw to a hidden staging point behind a museum. They will be hardly visible, but they will be ready. A year ago, the young men of this army, barely grown themselves, rode into Beijing in tanks and fired their guns. They mowed down men and women of their own generation, also barely grown, who were unarmed and unprotected. The authorities are taking no chances on more demonstrations this year. The lid is on, but the facade, the public face, is deceptively peaceful. This is the kind of public gathering permitted today in China. It's an official celebration of Labor Day. It's a public holiday, and elsewhere in the communist world, it's known as May Day. But while there was a parade in Moscow on May Day and demonstrators jeered Mikhail Gorbachev, here in Beijing, children danced. The little ones had rouged cheeks, a touch of the old China. But wait, isn't that Donald Duck and Minnie Mouse? A bit of Western influence, what's called bourgeois liberalism around here, is apparent. We saw it here, too, rock and roll with dances from the assembly lines of the People's Rubber Factory. These lovely girls know how to toe the line between East and West. There are no soldiers on duty here, no show of force, except in this arena where a young woman displays astonishing strength. It's a martial arts act, and that's her father and her brother shattering a massive stone block on the girl's stomach. Her muscles are obviously well-trained. The people here are all friendly to us. Only the babies who have never seen a Western face are suspicious. But there is a lack of openness here, a tension that's not visible on the surface. I was advised, for instance, not to look up Chinese students I'd met on a previous visit. Mere contact with an American, I was told, might get them into trouble. The wraps are on.
There's been a tightening down, ideological belt tightening in China. There's no question. There's less dissent.
James Lilly is the U.S. ambassador in Beijing. He was born in Shanghai, the son of an American businessman, and he knows China well.
China is no land of Oz. It's not run by Boy Scouts.
Has the Chinese day-to-day life changed since the events in Tiananmen Square?
I think he has to go to more meetings. I think he has to listen to more politically orthodox news. I think he has to be a little more careful about what he says. The atmosphere does not permit active dissent against the government. The security forces are too powerful.
In fact, the security forces are evident right outside Ambassador Lilly's embassy. Plainclothesmen lurk in parked cars and on the sidewalks, and one of them objects to the presence of our camera. They are on watch because two prominent Chinese dissidents have taken refuge inside our embassy. Astrophysicist Fang Lizhu and his wife sought U.S. protection after authorities ordered their arrest. They're accused of being ringleaders of the demonstrations that echoed around the world last year from this focal point in the center of Beijing. Tiananmen Square is a place of symbolism, the great hall of the people, the monument to the revolutionary martyrs. It's a place to reflect on the key word in the Chinese leaders' vocabulary, stability. Translate that to mean order. Without stability, order, the Chinese say there would be chaos, so order must be kept. For even simple ceremonial events like this welcome for a visiting Mongolian official, the army and police clear the public from Tiananmen Square. Crowds of any kind are not permitted. There is to be no challenge to the authority of the state, symbolized on Tiananmen Gate by the brooding pictorial presence of Mao Zedong. Mao, the leader of the revolution, was succeeded as Communist Party chief by Deng Xiaoping. He ruled with an iron hand, and his control over the party and the government was uncontested. Deng started relinquishing power 10 years ago, first to Hu Yuban, Deng's successor as party boss. He's now dead. Zhao Ziyang's tenure as general secretary of the party was cut short by last year's demonstrations. He sided with the students and lost out to the hardliners headed by Prime Minister Li Peng. The new man at the top, appointed after last year's protests, is Jiang Zemin, former mayor of Shanghai. He is head of both the Communist Party and the military. Jiang was personally picked for the top job by Deng Xiaoping. Deng calls Jiang the core of the leadership.
Jiang Zemin. It's hardly a household name, Barbara. He's virtually unknown to most people here.
It's true. He's very much the mystery man to us. What's coming up will be the first chance for an American television audience to see him. 12 months after Tiananmen, the Chinese leadership wants to show its face. And when we come back, you'll meet the man who runs China.